This is Geek Gab with your host, Dornall, and me, Daddy Warpig. We are back. Geek Gab for Monday, July 29th, 2024. Today we're going to be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. We're going to be talking about Twisters. We're going to be talking about The Boys Season 4. But before we do, we've got some really awesome news. Just the most exciting news I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh, hang on,
Uh,
Daddy Warpig. I'm sitting firmly in my seat. I'm going to shift to the edge. I am now on the edge of my seat.
Robert Downey Jr. is returning to the MCU. Robert,
Is he? I'm sensing a butt.
he's he's going to be playing, quote, a version of Doctor Doom in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie.
Oh. So everybody's just gonna have to pretend that he's not Tony Stark.
Or maybe Tony Stark became Doctor Doom, or maybe he's from an alternate timeline where Tony Stark is Doctor. Who knows? Nobody knows at this point. My,
It
have you
just
ever
smells of
watched?
desperation, that's all.
Have you ever watched Better Off Dead?
I haven't.
You've never seen John Cusack's Better Off Dead?
Nope.
Okay. At one point in time, his mom, who is legendarily awful, creates this dish for him. And he's sitting there staring at it and poking at this dish that looks like a pile of vomit with black lumps in it. And then the dish crawls off his plate and crawls off the table. And what she says before it crawls off while he's just looking at it is, "It's got raisins. You like raisins." So what I'm imagining at this point is Kevin Feige flopping this Fantastic Four movie in front of all of these Marvel fans, and they're looking at it like it's the nastiest thing in the world they've ever seen. And Kevin Feige on stage at San Diego Comic-Con, because that's going on right now, he leans over and says, "It's got Robert Downey Jr. You like Robert Downey Jr."
Oh. I'm good, thanks.
And then it just crawls off. The Fantastic Four movie just crawls off. This unholy thing given life that should not exist just crawls off the table and out of frame and is never seen again. That's all I could think about was just that line from Better. You need to watch Better Off Dead, by the way.
Is
Just
that so?
oh, I I like Robert Downey Jr. I like him as a person. I like him as an actor. And I heard that announcement and I thought, well, the rest of the cast is a burning disaster. So there's no way that's going to make, the movie any good. Oh, yeah. They also announced the title of the new Avengers movie.
Whoa, hang on. Back up a sec. I don't know anything about this Fantastic Four movie. Who else is in the cast?
The tall girl from, oh, wait, no, maybe it's something. The guy, look, just go check out the cast for yourself. I'm not going to comment on the air. I commented on the air when it was first announced. So
Okay.
I'm just going to do a callback to things I've already done on the show. I'm not going to waste my time duplicating it.
Garbage. Got it.
It's garbage. It's what it is. It's complete garbage. The title of the new Avengers movie, because, okay, so what happened with the old one is they were building up Kang. They were building up Kang so much they completely destroyed Ant-Man 3 in order to try and build up Kang. And then, in his personal life, Jonathan Majors may or may not, we don't know. It was just, at that point, it was just accusations. But of course, they threw him away over accusations. So all of a sudden, they had to dump the entire Kang storyline. and immediately dump all of Phase 4 and just announce it was suddenly over. So the Avengers movie, which is going to be the Kang Dynasty, they had to completely change to something completely different. So now we know what they've decided to change it to. And it's now being called Avengers Doomsday. And it's all in green because it's, Doctor Doom, nudge,
Doctor
nudge,
Doom.
wink, wink. Get it? Get it?
Uh, so now, if it, hold on a second. If Robert Downey Jr. is the new Doom in the Fantastic Four movie, do they actually have to put him in an Avengers movie now and really make everyone pretend that he's not Tony Stark?
Well, that's the thing is he's quote unquote a version of Captain of Tony Stark or Doctor Doom. So I'm trying to keep all this crap straight, and who knows?
Oh
Um,
boy.
my guess is that they're trying to tease you into making you think that he's Tony Stark from an alternate timeline who became Doctor Doom and has come back into this timeline, and they're going to have a surprise actor set up to really play Doom because that'll get people back into the seats playing
Uh-huh.
games instead of making real good movies. That'll really bring the audiences back. Uh, so, yeah, Marvel MCU totally saved by casting Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor No.
Yeah, it worked
Genius.
last time, right?
Yeah. Um. So it's more of the multiverse stuff, and that's really all I had to say. It just I'm uh
Sounds dreadful.
I'm tired. I'm tired. Although there is some good news, and it's pertinent to what we're going to be talking about. So I want to switch gears real quick. Um, Deadpool and Wolverine is doing smashingly well at the box office. Um, it's 450 million, maybe more, worldwide box office, 211 million domestic, making it the sixth biggest box office debut in history, uh,
Hmm.
beating beating uh, Avatar: The Way of Water. So anytime a movie can embarrass Avatar, I'm always happy. Because it makes me feel. Doesn't it make you feel good? Doesn't that give you like hope for the future of the human race? That there is actually a good movie that people will spend money on that is better than Avatar, legitimately
Yes.
better.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm anything having to do with Avatar comes up, I get a little worried for humanity.
so yeah, I said that this movie would be a hit, but it is actually a bigger hit than I thought. Um, they made 100 million on opening day previews, Thursday previews, not even a full release. 100 million on Thursday previews, so that's
Wow.
they're doing fantastic. So Marvel still apparently hasn't relearned the lesson that the clue to making money with Marvel movies is to make good Marvel movies. They're going with casting Robert Downey Jr. because instead of making good movies, put Robert Downey Jr. in it. That's the secret. That's the secret, folks. Just in case you're wondering.
Well, I think maybe you're jumping the gun on that a little bit. I think uh, it sounds like we and a lot of other people enjoyed Deadpool, but you might be glossing over the casting of Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine and a bunch of other casting. I don't think they've necessarily learned their lesson.
I was being sarcastic. Of course, they haven't learned their lesson. Was I not obvious? Was that not obvious sarcasm? Because I thought that was really obvious sarcasm.
Well, I thought you were praising Deadpool, but yeah, I missed the sarcasm on that one.
Yeah, yeah. Marvel absolutely has not learned the lesson that it's making quality movies that counts, not casting Robert Downey Jr. Because if they had learned their lesson, they wouldn't be casting Robert Downey Jr. They
It's
would be
true.
making good movies. They're relying on casting is not just Robert Downey Jr. It is in all of the nonsense, uh, all of the nonsense modern audiences casting they've been doing, right? Where instead of being respectful towards the comics, instead of being respectful towards the characters, they just cast to make it seem like they're socially aware, to make it seem like they're a progressive company. And what that means is it's not that that's necessarily bad in and of itself. It just means that their priorities are entirely out of whack and they care about a thousand other things before making a quality movie. So, and people can complain and say it's not true, and I point to every single thing Marvel's done since Endgame. How many good movies has Marvel made since Endgame? I'm
None.
sure there are more than one. Okay, Guardians of the Galaxy, I remember being good. I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy. I can't say there's none, but there aren't many. Marvel is doing so badly in Phase Four that they didn't release any Marvel movies this year except Deadpool and Wolverine. They're doing so badly. Disney panicked and turned off the spigot of Marvel movies. They've been rushing out three of them a year. And Disney said, no, no more Marvel movies. We got to stop this. Do you know how bad you have to be doing for Disney to stop pumping out terrible content?
They haven't stopped with Star Wars. They haven't stopped with Marvel.
I mean, their Star Wars content on streaming service. I mean, they stopped making Star Wars movies for a bit, but their Star Wars content on the streaming services is legendarily awful. I mean, it is plumbing vast new depths of awfulness. They have gone right past the Earth's core, and I'm expecting to hear dispatches from China any day now. That's how deep they are. If they go any deeper with how bad, if they dig themselves a hole any deeper with how bad Star Wars content is, it's going to cease being an excavation and start being another space program. That's how bad Star Wars content is.
Dang.
So, I just kind of wonder, you know, Marvel at least pulled the plug before they blew everything all the way up. They only mostly blew it up. Um, so we have, and I also feel really good that The Boys ended when it did, which is right before Deadpool and Wolverine came out, because it makes a great contrast to Deadpool and Wolverine. And I think the biggest contrast uh, between The Boys and Deadpool and Wolverine lies in the area of the being of goodness, in which The Boys is not, and Deadpool is. Um, because they're both really violent, Deadpool and The Boys. They're both have a lot of things for shock value in terms of like language and stuff. Um, and and yet Deadpool absolutely not woke. In fact, they get at least one shot in there about the woke crowd. But on the same token, they don't believe the point on either way. They made a movie to entertain as many people as possible and didn't insult either side of their audience. And surprisingly enough, in modern American pop culture, it seems like Ryan Reynolds, and I don't know how to explain this, because it's such a strange concept, and maybe you can help me here. It seems like Ryan Reynolds technically, maybe actually doesn't hate his audience.
In today's Hollywood, yeah,
Does that
you're
make any
right.
sense to you?
It makes perfect sense. I mean, I follow. I understand what you're saying. The words that you have said are probably true. Uh,
So,
and I agree. He does not hate his audience. He
so let's
does
start with The
seek to
Boys.
entertain.
The Boys hates its audience. I mean, really, 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 really hates its audience, and they want you to know. They absolutely, absolutely want you to know how much they hate their audience. If The Boys was an individual in your life who hated you, how he would let you know he hated you was to chloroform you, kidnap you, and tattoo across every inch of exposed skin on your body, "I effing hate you."
Uh-huh.
That's how much The Boys not only hates its audience, but wants the audience to know without a shadow of a doubt how much they hate you individually and everything you believe and everything you like and everything you hold dear. They hate it. Anything you can think of, they hate, and they want you to know it. So, somebody somewhere, Eric Kripke, who created Supernatural, which is a fabulous TV show, apparently either legitimately went nuts, um, or got a major panic attack because in Hollywood, if the wrong kind of people like your material, then everyone in Hollywood will treat you as if you personally are the wrong kind of person. So you kind of have to go out of your way to disown all of the wrong kind of people and make a point of showing that, no. They may like your character or movies or whatever, but you're not one of them dirty, rotten Nazi bastards. Like the guy from Parks and Rec who played the anti government dude, he had to go out of his way to um show that, even though all these right wingers and libertarians like this character, uh he didn't like them. Zack Snyder spitting in the face of uh geeks and gamers and that whole crowd when they were literally on a live stream with him, telling them how little he thought of them, how he thought they were basically scum. um it just happens a lot. So either Eric Kripke legitimately went nuts, or he got so scared because conservatives liked The Boys, and some people somewhere made joke memes about how Homelander did nothing wrong. He went nuts because he just had to show conservatives that he hated every conservative in the country and everything they believed. So the entire premise of this season of The Boys is that all right wingers and conservatives are the most evil people you've ever met in the entire world, and they want to establish concentration camps for anybody who disagrees with them. And they're evil. And uh, boy, are they evil. And they are really, really evil. And also, they're evil. So, yeah,
Wow.
it goes over the top with violence, goes over the top with um, all the content, um, and they are hypocrites, of course, and just every kind of stupid thing. It's so incoherent. They don't even make characters out of all the people. They just make them one-liners. So you've seen the meme from Red Letter Media, right, where they point and clap and say, "AT-AT, I recognize that." Um,
Yeah.
okay, so that's all this was a long meandering series of, you know, um, let's see, oh, crisis actors, I recognize that. Uh, they name politicians by name who are on the right, whatever. Just hoot and holler lines that you could point to and say, "Oh, I recognize this, I recognize that," whether it made sense for the character or not, whether it made sense for the situation or not, just to um, get in digs, and it made the whole thing kind of incoherent. Um, and by the end of it, you're just, in order to do that, they completely jettisoned any kind of good writing, any kind of passable writing, any kind of bad writing, and went directly for the globally awful, terrible writing. Just really, really bad writing. Bad writing, bad plotting. There is absolutely nothing I can say to recommend this season of The Boys. Also, in order to understand the season of The Boys, you had to have watched the Generation V, the Gen V spin-off series. Oh, and also, good news, didn't cover this at the start of the show. They're planning like 3 spin-off series or 2 more spin-off series and another season of Gen V. So, one of which is a 1950s series with Soldier Boy and Stormwatch, the Nazi chick. And also, they're planning a new series set in Mexico. So, that won't be about how much they hate conservatives and illegal aliens and stuff. I don't know. I'm just guessing, projected here, folks. I am reading the minds of the psychopaths who have gone over the edge making the series. So that's The Boys. Utterly awful in every way.
I mean, you could have banked on that for sure. But thank you for taking that bullet for us, DW. I don't have anything to ask about that.
Yeah, just. So you saw Twisters.
Twisters. Yeah. Apparently it is bad of me. I'm a bad person for never having seen Twister.
I also have seen Twisters, but I also saw Twister. So I'm morally superior to you. So
Oh, oh, wow. Taking it to another level today. I just thought you were
I
better
just
at
I just wanted to
sarcasm.
get that out there.
Those are some fighting words. Um,
Twister is a
yeah,
great
I
movie.
I saw
Bill
Twisters.
Paxton.
I'm glad you did too. Um,
It
what can
was,
I
in fact,
say?
I went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine one day. I went back to the theaters the next day, saw Twisters, and then saw Deadpool and Wolverine again.
Oh my. Uh, Twisters. I mean, I don't know. Did you see the trailer? If you have, you know what it's about, right? Young woman from Oklahoma who's a meteorologist, loves chasing um, tornadoes, goes to chase some storms with some sort of science experiment that she wants to carry out. Runs into male love interest, tall, handsome, dashing guy from Top Gun who is a does a rowdy has a rowdy crew of tornado chasers that have their, you know, adrenaline pumping videos put on YouTube for likes and clicks and funds, and you go hang out with them for a couple of hours and watch them chase storms at each other, and it's what you get is what you see on the tin. It's great. It was really good fun. Um, it was a good fun movie,
It was,
and
and I'm really starting to like that actor now, the guy from uh, Top Gun in this movie, because he really pulls it off. He's a good actor. He does a good job in this role, and
he might
maybe
he
he's one
might
of,
be playing to type, but I mean, if
yeah.
your type is, handsome leading guy, That's a pretty good type to have. It's his name is Glenn Powell.
Ben Powell. Okay, yeah, he's fun to watch, and he plays his role with a sense of humor. He plays a very likable guy. So
Yes,
it,
because he's got this YouTube persona of he's really cocky and excited, and he takes risks for the show and everything like that, and he he effectively portrays someone who has that dialed down slightly in his personal relationships, right? You you tell that, oh, he's actually a good guy. He cares for all of his the people on his team that he works with, and he cares about the people who are affected by the devastating tornadoes and everything like that. So it's one of those things where even the guy who um, I mean, the antagonist in this movie is nature itself, right? This is about them versus nature, but there's also a couple of minor antagonists in the movie, and they're not that unlikable either.
no, no. What I like most, and because what really made part of the movie for me is because I have seen people like that on YouTube, redneck scientists, people with literal PhDs who are rednecks and do awesome things on YouTube. And I thought that is just a great character to put in a movie. And the reason why that wouldn't often get put in a movie is because most of your Hollywood writers have nothing but contempt for rural people, rednecks, Southerners, whatever. And the fact that you've got not one but two people who are rural Oklahomans, and they're the leads, right? Um, it is really, and they're treated them and their rural background are treated with respect. They're not made
That's what
fun of.
that's exactly what I wanted to bring up. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. It was uh, it didn't take any shots at rural folks being yokels. Um, the it had a lot of love and respect for America and the heartland, the people that are in it. The whole movie, uh, all the action happens in Oklahoma, um, and the characters get to demonstrate how much they care for the people. Right? They cut off their tornado chasing uh, to help survivors deal with the wreckage. Right? Um, and there's no there's none of that hate that you were talking about in the boys. They are not picking out any segment of the population for hate, except for perhaps the people who prioritize themselves over helping others.
Yeah,
uh, but that was just a minor plot point. I don't know, it was really enjoyable. Apparently I missed a dozen Easter eggs or callbacks to the original Twister, but I didn't miss them.
the original Twister is a good movie though. Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt, it's a lot of fun. Um, I I'm not sure it would add much now that you've seen Twisters, although it is a better movie than Twisters.
Oh, okay.
Um, uh, but Twisters is still a really good movie, and it's a fun weekend. And I'm glad they got it out a week before Deadpool and Wolverine, so at least had a chance to be seen before before the uh, before the non-stop destruction being wreaked in the path of Deadpool and Wolverine rendered it absolutely moot. Um, so Deadpool and Wolverine, um, I saw it twice. I accidentally saw it in 3D the second time.
Oh,
I did, I didn't know I
and
was going to see it in 3D because I bought a ticket and they didn't give me 3D glasses. So I went and sat down and, I'm watching the previews and the normal previews come up and go away. And I'm like, that's cool. And another preview comes up and it's all fuzzy. I'm like, oh, crap. I gotta wait for them to fix this. Gotta wait for them to fix this camera, and then like 5 seconds into the preview, I'm tilting my head and I'm like, wait a minute, that looks like kind of like what they do with 3D. And I look over at the people next to me, and they've got the glasses on their
Oh
trays,
boy.
and I'm like, oh crap, I'm in a 3D movie. And then I get up and I start walking out the door. And there's these three girls that get up and start walking out the door. And as we're walking out the door, another guy joins us and starts walking out the door. And I'm like, that's kind of odd that all of us are walking out the door at the same time. And we go down. Do we have to walk all the way across the theater? All the way across the theater to get the glasses. And it turns out all of us need glasses. And we turn around and go back, and like half the theater didn't get the 3D glasses.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
And the people I'm sitting next to are like, they're just completely befuddled. Like, what the hell happened? Why did everybody get up and leave at the same exact time?
Yeah, I'll tell you why.
So it was great to not see it in 3D, and the 3D was perfectly fine. I guess the best thing I can say about it was there are large swaths of the movie where you just didn't notice it was in 3D at all, and it was just a lot of fun. And it wasn't hardly gimmicky at all, except during a couple of small scenes. But it was a lot darker than when you don't see it in 3D. So I just prefer non 3D.
That's funny, but you saw it twice. Was that because it was
But
so bad the first time you were hoping that they would have improved it by the time you saw it again?
so bad it made me weep tears of blood at what they did to my boy. I just couldn't believe it. I was utterly bereft. I thought, it can't be this terrible. I've got to go back. No, I've really enjoyed this movie. I want to go see it a third time. If I wasn't completely broke, I would absolutely go see it a third time.
Wow.
I really, really liked this movie. I really, really enjoyed it. It makes fun of a lot of Marvel stuff, and it makes fun of it in. It seemed obvious to me how it was making fun of it. It was making fun of current Marvel ideas and continuity by bringing them up and being in continuity, because that's the joke, right? Like at one point, Deadpool specifically, they announced this monster that's in the movie, and Deadpool says, "Oh, Goliath? You mean like in Loki season 1, episode 5?"
Right.
Because the gag there is that so many Marvel movies make you have to watch these streaming shows to understand. But apparently there's some reviewers who didn't get that, because they're like, oh man, I couldn't believe you had to watch, Loki to understand the Deadpool movie. I'm like, dude, no!
And we've lost you. You missed the point.
You missed you completely. Oh. So yeah. I thought it was awesome. I admittedly, it's filled with jokes. Not every joke lands.
Uh-huh.
The
That's the
humor,
benefit of the shotgun joke approach.
yes.
The if you're gonna write a joke a minute show, then they don't all have to land for everybody.
Um, but it was still great. Hugh Jackman. The benefit of having Hugh Jackman there is he plays this entirely straight. He is the same grim, tortured, pained Wolverine that you've always seen, and having him right next to Deadpool, who is the joke a minute, Merc with a mouth, who just cannot, like almost congenitally, cannot shut his mouth, cannot stop talking. Um, Deadpool always needs a straight guy to illustrate that, like, he's almost broken in some ways with why he will not shut up. It's not a thing he does to annoy people. Although it is a thing he does to annoy people, it's just also something he
It's
can't control.
pathological.
Yeah. And Cable played that in the last movie, and Wolverine does that in this movie. Um, but Hugh Jackman does just a fabulous job at playing that straight man, at being that um, uh, absolute um, serious, dramatic role, like he's, knocking one out of the park, going for an Oscar. Just uh, uh, fabulous performance. And then right next to him is Ryan Reynolds doing his Deadpool thing.
Uh,
That's
Absolutely. It's a no-brainer as far as the comedy setup for the comedic value to have Hugh Jackman play Wolverine as the straight man. That's why uh, uh, the characters are just perfect for each other. Um, I think the other thing that they did really, really well. You mentioned that they brought up Marvel movies and made fun of Marvel movies and everything like that. But more than that, it from the beginning set itself aside from the Marvel movies uh, because they brought Wolverine back. It set itself up as the last of the Fox Marvel movies, and the whole movie start to finish with half a dozen cameos and nonstop jokes and digs at Marvel and Disney. Um, a big part of what made this enjoyable was the fact that it was a kind of love letter to that Fox era of Marvel movies, the comic book hero movies such as all the X-Men's and uh, Daredevil and Elektra and a few others. If you have, I'll spoil this one. I don't know if you knew this going into it, but you know, Channing Tatum shows up as Gambit, which is a great nod because the Gambit movie got canned uh, to make way for something else. I don't remember. I
it.
thought that was. I thought it
Everybody
was.
had everybody had publicized this as if it were, oh, hey, Deadpool joins the Marvel universe, and this is absolutely not Deadpool joining the Marvel universe. This is not the introduction of the X-Men into the Marvel universe or the introduction of mutants into the Marvel universe. Whatever Marvel's plans are for the X-Men, or whatever Marvel's plan, and they're probably bad, they're probably terrible, it's probably going to be a disaster,
You
but
know it.
whatever Marvel's uh, plans are for that part of the Fox properties when it bought them, this has nothing to do with that. This is absolutely only about Deadpool, the X-Men movies, from starting in, with the first X-Men movie in 2000, um, everything else going all the way up uh, through when they stopped making them and stopped releasing them, and they in the same way that Spider-Man: No Way Home was a love letter to all the previous Spider-Man movies that had come out, to the Andrew Garfield movies, uh, and to I want to say Tobey Maguire. Is that the wrong name? I always get him and the other dude mixed
No,
up.
you got it right.
Okay,
Tobey Maguire.
the Tobey Maguire
The
Spider-Man
Sam
movies. How
Raimi
they
movies.
paid Sam Raimi movies, yeah, Sam Raimi movies. How they paid homage to them and gave those characters, especially Andrew Garfield, gave him kind of the ending his character deserved. Gave him a chance to play out an emotional arc and finish off his story. This is that kind of send off for all the Fox movies, that characters in those movies never got a chance to see, and it is absolutely great. And there are so many, and I don't want to use cameos in the sense that people just showed up in a costume, talked a bit in character, and waved at the camera saying, "Hi, remember me? I was in a movie from 2009. Didn't you like that movie?" Um, those are not the kind of cameos I'm talking about. They have actual characters because of the way they set up the movie. They have actual characters from these old movies that are brought into the new movie and are given a chance, just like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were brought into No Way Home and given a chance to take part in the events of that movie. I mean, they mattered. The fact that they were there actually mattered to that movie. These characters that they bring back to give them one last hurrah actually have critical, important things to do as far as moving the story along and being there. And it is really fun to see, and it's really great to see. And you can say, "Oh, that's member berries," and it kind of is. But then again, it is fun to be able to say goodbye to actors you like in roles that you like. Um, being able to see them be badasses for one last time, um, in the service of helping Deadpool save his whole entire universe. Um, and kind of the point at the end of the movie, and I have no idea if there's any bearing on Marvel going forward. Kind of the point at the end of this movie is that Deadpool's universe, the Fox X-Men universe, will stay its own thing, sealed off, and will continue on, and is always going to be out there. It's Universe 10005, and then the Marvel Cinematic Universe is 616. And whenever the mutants show up in that universe, however they show up in that universe, whatever they show up in that universe, they're going to be their own thing and be completely separate and different. Um, so it's nice to see a send off um, of all those things.
I agree, and I hadn't put those two together, but yeah, the the use of the multiverse garbage that they set up in Loki, um, which they made fun of as they were using it. Um,
Yeah.
everybody's tired of the multiverse stuff. Everybody, uh, the quality of Marvel movies has plummeted since Endgame. Many would argue before then, but the point stands. And they literally made that joke in the film.
Oh,
Spoilers, by the way. Um, y-
Deadpool says at one point in the movie to another character, "Welcome to the MCU. You're kind of joining us at a low point."
yes. Perfect. All these, all not all these jokes, but all these jokes are really good. So many of them land. He takes every shot he can at Marvel and Disney. Um, but yeah, they use the multiverse to sort of set that up. Like, yeah, we're gonna keep telling these X-Men stories. We don't have to make an Avengers X-Men crossover or anything like that. Um, so thanks for handing us enough rope, so to speak. Uh, Gosh, what else? Let's see, all the stuff that you were hoping to see visually out of Deadpool and Wolverine. You saw the trailers, you've seen Hugh Jackman in the classic yellow uniform, right? There's gonna be a lot more of that for you. I can't spoil anymore. There's gonna be a lot more of that. Call it fan service if you will, but sort of the stuff that you always wanted when they made those live action X-Men films. Um,
They, I think I'd say this without spoiling anything. Deadpool goes on a search for a Wolverine and has to travel through the multiverse to find a Wolverine. And so meets several different incarnations of Wolverine. And it's awesome, especially if you're a fan of the comics and you know who they are. It's just great fun.
oh yeah. Um, Everything sort of you ever wanted out of it, which means that they don't have to do another one, because goodness knows Hugh Jackman didn't actually want to do this. Uh, they had to do like they did with Robert Downey Jr. and back up a truck full of what? Let's see. I'm use Bradford Walker's words. Back a dump truck full of cash to his front door to get him back, right?
I like to think of it as sort of a Deadpool Wolverine moment where Ryan Reynolds just wore him down, just kept asking him so many times that he finally said, "Fine, I will do this
uh,
one last time for you." He's done this 10 times now. This is the 10th movie he's been in playing Wolverine. Um, but he
you
went out
think
like a G.
you think he would have been done when he died in the last one, but nope. Marvel added the multiverse thing, so screw you.
Oh, and they deal with that. Like the very first thing, and I don't want to spoil it because usually my rule is if it's in the first scene of the movie, it's not a spoiler. And I have to break that for this movie. If it's in the first scene of the movie, it is actually a spoiler. The first scene in the movie, to tell you what's in the first scene of the movie, is actually a spoiler because it's so hilarious. But they deal with Logan's death scene right, right out of the gate, and it's just it's awesome.
Yeah.
That whole scene is awesome. And it will give you a brand new appreciation for the pop song that comes along a little while later. Uh, it's so I, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
action wise, I give it a B minus uh, or a C, but the entertainment value
Really,
was the entertainment. Yeah, it is a modern superhero movie. There's too much animation for me, um, uh, but the uh, the way it was executed. So I don't like it as an action like if punchy kicky movie, but what they did with it was perfect for what they needed.
I
I don't
I
I don't
thought
I don't like the over animate. Let me explain. Let me explain. I don't like the over animated action scenes, but a lot of the personal choreography was good. And what they did with those action scenes to set up those, like I mentioned before, alluded to before, the visual things that you expect out of a Deadpool and Wolverine movie, and in particular the way they used it to set up many sight gags. I almost want to see the movie again just to see all the sight gags and the Easter eggs that I might have missed on the first uh, viewing. Really funny stuff happens in almost every scene, and it's not always the jokes that they're telling.
um, I thought that the fight between Deadpool and Wolverine, the first one, was fabulous. They have an entire fight that happens inside a car,
That
and
fight was awesome.
I don't know how you choreograph a physical fight between Deadpool and Wolverine that takes place inside a car, but it is absolutely spectacular. Um, it's just so great, and it's not confusing. You don't, you know, they're not hiding the action. You know what's going on, and it's just great. Um, I, uh, I, I thought the main villain, who if you've seen the trailer, you know it's that bald chick who's the main villain. I thought she needed a little bit more definition. I thought she was a little bit bland and flat, but she
Mhm.
she did her job. She did it well. On the other hand, the other villain uh, was perfectly fine. He got enough definition. You knew who he was, and he was great.
Yeah.
He was such a weasel, just the absolutely perfect weasel. Apparently, he's an Emmy nominee or an Emmy award winner for a streaming series. So he did a fabulous job. Um,
Yeah, I thought he was great. I mean, he was fun to watch. Yeah, the other villain, like you said, kind of kind of bland. But that was not important at all, right? You know what you're getting into in a Deadpool movie. The villains don't matter. The plot kinda doesn't matter. The plot made enough sense, and it almost made enough sense. It was enough to follow so that you could get from the next gag or the next, funny fight scene or whatever. Um, because the purpose was to deliver as many jokes as possible in a short amount of time.
I thought the fight scene with the TVA again that was in the trailers was just superb. I thought that the computer graphics were C quality. I just did not like them. Or maybe I'm just thinking of the couple of times in which they were obviously cartoonish, because there were other times I can think of where they had to have been computer graphics, but I wasn't thinking about them in retrospect. So maybe they saved all their money for the times that are absolutely critical and just skimped on a couple of places where they were obviously like bad.
I mean, that may be. Of course, it may be that just because of the nature of the movie, they didn't really care about how cartoony it looked. But
Uh,
yeah, that sort of thing turns me off. But that's not why I saw the movie. I wasn't going there expecting to see the raid.
I get the feeling I haven't seen enough Ryan Reynolds movies to catch all the references.
Yeah, yeah, they take a lot of shots at Ryan Reynolds himself, and I didn't get all of them.
Apparently Hugh Jackman got a divorce at some point. I didn't understand the full context of that one, but
Yeah,
but
that
that
was news
came
to me.
through. Um, I don't know, it's just so much fun, start to finish. Okay, I do want to say this. Somebody next to me in the second showing I went to, the 3D showing, thought it was cool to bring like 8 or 9 year old kids to the show.
Oh dear, that that seemed unwise.
And while this movie does not have, the stripper scenes that Deadpool 1 did, um, this is not a movie whose language and violence is really conducive to 8 or 9 year old kids. Okay. This is a movie that is really R rated for very good reasons. All right. And you, I'm not saying this because I think the members of the audience who are listening to the show need to be told this, but you shouldn't bring like 9 and 10-year-old kids to watch Deadpool. Holy crap.
No, no.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, no. And there was the couple on the other side who were making out the whole movie. I'm like, why are you here? Especially, why are you in the front row? I mean, why don't you go in the back row like decent people do? Go make out where nobody can see you, far away from me. Um, who gets romantic at a Deadpool movie?
Great question. Does that mean uh, she's horrible, or does that mean she's a keeper? I can't tell.
Oh, look, he just decapitated that guy. Give me some sugar. I'm like, no, no. Um, but I had a lot of fun. This time, the movie actually had Deadpool and Wolverine cups. So I got to add a Deadpool and Wolverine cup to my growing collection. Um, unlike the Minions and Garfield cups I've had to pick up earlier, this one had a Deadpool and Wolverine cup, so I was very happy about that. Um, It's fun. It's exciting. Deadpool gets to be Deadpool all over the place. Yeah, go see it before people spoil it for you.
Yeah,
Because when
pretty
I
hard.
say things like the first scene is a spoiler, there are so many spoilers in this movie. They're going to ruin really great moments that, you just. Also, apparently, somebody took fake footage inside a movie theater. Like fake, you know how people go to movie theaters and film it with cams and release it on internet, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, they did fake cam shots of the movie. Where like Deadpool is in scenes with the Avengers and stuff that aren't in the movie. And they released them on a bunch of sites. Just little clips
Oh, that's
to
funny.
to defeat spoilers or something leading up to the movie's release. So there's a big YouTuber whose name I won't mention, who was so angry because he decided to spoil the movie for himself. He didn't want to go watch it. Instead, he downloaded all of these cam clips and watched them and said on one of his videos, I basically know the entire movie now and it isn't funny. There wasn't a single joke. So, although there are lots of spoilers out there, just also be aware there's a lot of fake spoilers, which that's just great. That's really great. That's fabulous. Ryan Reynolds has been tweeting out a bunch of stuff nonstop too. Because his publicity game, especially for the Deadpool movies, has just been on point. So he's been tweeting out a lot of great stuff about the actors who play different roles in the movie and things like that. But don't go look at them because they are also spoilers. Go see the movie first. Um, that's all I can think about. It's a great movie. It's a lot of fun. Um, I'll be interesting to hear that a certain song has made a sudden comeback. It is now like the number one downloaded song on iTunes because it appeared Deadpool.
Oh dear. Yeah, I bet if you look at YouTube trends, the views shot up to the millions. Um, yeah, everything that you like from the Deadpool movies delivers. I think it's the best one so far. It's a lot funnier. It's a lot less raunchy. Um, and thanks to Wolverine, it's a little more violent. Uh,
Also, you should stay through the credits because during the credits there is a great video that is basically, saying goodbye to the Fox Comics universe with the Marvel characters. That's really, really, kind of heartwarming. And there is an after credit scene with Deadpool that after all the credits are over. So there's during the credit scene and an after credit scene, and it has nothing to do with the MCU. It's not teasing anything coming or any new character or anything. But you should definitely wait through to the end of it and watch that. It's worth it.
yeah, it's good for a chuckle. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you really don't want to get it spoiled because there are just some moments that they set up perfectly in the movie where you're going, yes, 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 that's great. Holy crap, what? So go see it as soon as possible. It's worth watching and do it before you get them spoiled. That's my advice.
Absolutely. Um, and this is how you know it's good. You got the door on 100%, 2 thumbs up. Uh, I have recommended a new Marvel movie. There you go.
right.
Let
Do you have anything else
let's.
to say?
I don't have anything else to say about Deadpool. I meant to mention this earlier, but go check out one of our friend channels, Joy of Wargaming. After listening to this, he's been doing amazing stuff for the hobby, for the gaming, tabletop gaming, role-playing gaming hobby, wargaming hobby. As always, I can't recommend his channel enough. So after you're done at at YouTube or SoundCloud or whatever, listening to all of our back episodes, go watch the recent stuff from John Mollison at the Joy of Wargaming. Incredible stuff. They're pushing tabletop role-playing games to a whole new level, and that's all I have time to say.
All right. Well, I cannot give The Boys season 4 any stronger negative recommendation. Strong recommendation for Twisters, and also the original Twister. If you haven't seen it, go watch that. And highest recommendation for Deadpool and Wolverine. I almost remember theaters are half an hour drive for me, so going to seeing it twice in the theaters and really wanting to go see it a third time is a really, really high recommendation, because I have to drive an hour there and back to go see a movie. So, plus ticket prices are insane.
Yeah,
Cost just
yeah,
insane.
absolutely insane, but worth it. Worth it for. Gosh, if I could only see one of those movies in the theater, I think it would be Deadpool.
Yeah.
Though Twister's action, it was fantastic on the big screen. Yeah,
Yeah,
two movie nights in a week is something like $80 around here.
Twisters really is a movie that benefits from seeing it on a big screen. It deserves to be seen on a big screen. All
For
right.
sure.
Well, let's see. I think that's it. I think it's time to go.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, I messed you up by not doing my closing words, but thanks for hanging out, Daddy Warpig. I love talking about this stuff. I love talking about movies, and it's good to finally have a couple of good movies come out this year. So I'm pumped. Can't wait to see what we talk about next time. And thanks for everybody hanging out in the chat with us, and I hope everybody listening later uh, got to go see those movies without getting spoiled. I'm done for this week. Have a great week.
All right, folks. I want to thank everyone for tuning live and joining in with the chat. And we want to thank everyone who will listen later. We're available on SoundCloud.com. We're available on the Google Play Store. We're available on the iTunes Store. Just do a search for Geek Gab. This is Geek Gab. We're available on YouTube.com/Geek Gab. Once again, that's YouTube.com/Geek Gab. Live every week, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Feel free to subscribe. Click the bell icon. Get a notification as to when we go live. And go ahead and click an upvote if you click a like if you liked the show. We are signing out for today, but don't you worry, don't you fret. We will be back.